Hey guys, it's Jess from rBeatz. Welcome back to my little at-home setup here. I wanted to talk today about lyrics. I have so many songwriter friends who tell me this is their most hated step of the song, is to actually put English words to it. There's some things you can do that can really amp up the songwriting or the lyric writing pretty quickly and easily. So I wanted to share that today to help everybody, maybe blow up their brain a little bit and find other things that are already in there. So if you're one of my former students, you already know that I'm going to recommend the Writing Better Lyrics book by Pat Pattison. I think that one of the most important things that I ever learned through my music education was the concept of object writing. When I was younger, I feel I had very strong melodies and, sounds and chords and whatever. But as the tapes will show, those lyrics are not good. Okay, that's 14-year-old Jess right there. They were horrible. Now, also, I had nothing to write about at that time. What I would forget a school paper or get mad at one of my basketball coaches. Really deep stuff. So the concept of object writing is not like other writing exercises, okay? You gotta follow me all the way through here. It's a 10-minute situation. You don't want to write more than 10 minutes. And what you want to do is pick any object in the whole wide world. That lamp, this phone, whatever, and you want to write about it descriptively with all of your senses. So usually when we're writing lyrics, we typically stick with visuals, but when you incorporate more senses into your writing, you're gonna see your brain start to bloom and pick up more throughout the day creatively, that you're gonna be able to, build that muscle and have it come a lot more fluidly. So when I say all the senses, you want to use the sight, touch, smell, taste, the sound. All right, I just went and grabbed this cotton ball right here to show you what I mean. Obviously, it's white and fluffy, and that's great and all. But if you could describe the sensation of the softness across your lips, or the sound of it, almost like, the most tender angelic wings. And then you start getting into lots of analogies when you do this, because you're trying to describe the sensations, and then you're going to pull from other, references in your life. Describing silence of a cotton ball, use your imagination, but just that in and of itself is going to get you really cooking, because the whole point of your lyrics are to be special to your brain. The things that you're describing, it's going to get that inner poet to come out, in my opinion. So kind of going with that idea of connecting other references in your life. Robot, you almost did it, dude. You almost caught that. Okay, if you're just totally stumped and you really can't get anything going, make a list of adjectives and then next to it a list of nouns. Don't look at both of them at the same time yet. And try to go for really good adjectives. See, don't use good. Use a thesaurus, okay? Vocabulary is beautiful, and it really sings well when you just look through a word that's a little bit better than the normal day-to-day speech. So take that list of nouns, take that list of adjectives, and then just start randomly connecting different ones. And then you'll find so many good pairings that just strike that match and become maybe a title that you could write from. Back to the metaphors and analogy game. My favorite type of writing is metaphorical usually, or it's even just fragments of sentences, and they don't have to make sense. There are no rules in music or writing lyrics. There are just different ways to stir the pot to get you different results. When you hear cliches in songs, your ears will tune out a bit, and there's not as much for that listener to grab onto and have any type of feast, or even candy for that matter. So instead of putting a cliche line in a song, you really want to try and breathe life into whatever it is that you're trying to say. One of my favorite examples is a Ben Folds song called Brick, and one of the lines is, "She's a brick and I'm drowning slowly." And it says so much more than what the sentence is. You're talking about being tied to someone in a relationship that's just sinking and you're getting sucked down, as well. And that's just so much more evocative than someone's bringing me down, or whatever you want to interpret. Another thing I would suggest is to let your brain kind of just throw up random syllables. I wouldn't even I personally don't even use English words when I'm writing. It's just kind of syllables. Sometimes an English word pops out and I go, oh, that might just fit right there. You're kind of fishing. You're fishing your imagination, and some of them will come to be, and then you can work with those words from there. But there are plenty of songs with made up shtlibbly-doos. What I'm saying is that sometimes the song, the sonicness of a word gives you the anchor you need to kind of write the rest. So trust just like intuition, or not thinking at all, just throwing out the words, throwing them at the wall and seeing what sticks. Use your voice memos. Always have voice memos running in case something passes by, and trust the improvisation imagination that you do have. One of my favorite exercises to do as well is to take a phrase, like say it's in your tagline, your spotlight area of a chorus, which is typically the first line or the last line, because those stick out the most, and to make each verse, make that phrase mean something different. I have a song called Over Love that was off my very first album that I had written it on that premise, and it ended up being a pretty great favorite. Over love, you can make that over love. One of the verses is just like over it, or fighting over love, right? It's just another turn of phrase. Over love what we do. So you can make the same phrase mean different things when they hit. I feel like country music definitely uses that tool a lot, where they come back to a phrase and each verse is telling either more of the story or giving you more perspectives on that same phrase. And, also with country music, I always describe it as sort of punchline lyrics. They're just setting up, and then there's that punchline. It's not necessarily a joke, but it's very that type of style I've noticed in like pop country. But obviously it's effective in any genre, so don't be limited. There's rhyme schemes and things to be aware of. Sometimes I feel like I need to rhyme, and other times it really doesn't matter. Like if it's an incomplete or sad or empty song, it's kind of the same theology of singing 3 lines to make the listener uncomfortable by not having that fourth resolve. So you can do the same thing with rhyme schemes by not rhyming. It kind of gets them a little bit off kilter. So there is a such thing as a rhyming dictionary, but who would, I don't even know if people would use that anymore with Rhyme Zone now. There's rhyme search engines online, obviously, that you can use. Something to think about. When it comes to abstract lyrics, where you're just kind of saying fragments of things that you're not really connecting in plain English or in a storytelling way, that is so still just as effective, if not more effective, because you're leaving room for the listener's imagination, connecting those. Yes does this all the time. Just fragmented lyrics, and then the sequence within which they're placed, it kind of just develops this other picture or feeling. So definitely, if you feel like you're not a perfect wrapped up bow storytelling type lyricist, use broken fragments, but use beautiful language. All right, guys, I hope you find those tips useful for writing better lyrics, or just stirring up your brain a little bit differently to have a different product. As always, remember, there are no rules. There are just things that sound good. Remember, the most important thing is to just have fun and express yourself and enjoy it. Enjoy the process. I'm Jess with rBeatz, and I'll catch you next time.